So we're going to go ahead and design a little outfit, and I'll put a little picture of the outfit right here. That someone found this and they really liked it, so I thought maybe we could go ahead and design this for a quarter scale doll, and that could be our last video and last pattern for the MSD month of July, even though it's getting posted a little bit late. We just had some things going on in our family, so we're getting to it a little late, but we're going to go ahead and even out the month with this project. So we're going to design that outfit. So now to go ahead and look at the basic pattern I'm going to use, I chose the JID basic pattern, and this was made from an House Asa quarter scale JID doll. And I chose this one because the hips are a little bit bigger, so that the bottom of the t-shirt would be able to fit this kind of a doll as well as the minifee in the photo. And the sleeves will be a little long. It's a little bit bigger than a minifee, but because it's a t-shirt basic pattern and you can put elastic in the little shorts, I think it'll be fine. Also, what I want to do is, besides the little arm guards and socks, I thought we'd also throw in a pair of leggings if you wanted to go with a leggings route rather than just the little long stockings. We'll go ahead and add that to the pattern. So that's what we're going to do. We're using the JID basic set, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go through the process and then speed up the actual drawing part so you can see that done. The way that I would actually start with the t-shirt, and you can do this with your own doll as well if it's a different size, is I'm going to start with drawing out the one half of the t-shirt on a center line, and I want just the basic shape, and then I'll go ahead and put in the zigzag stitch. So I'm going to start with a line that's going to be my center front line. We'll get my lead going here. So we're going to start with that, and I would turn on the light here for a minute and it'll get really dark, but hopefully you'll be able to see through the paper that way. So the lighting is going to change. Let's check the camera, hopefully that'll show. But I like to use a light table. So my first step is I'm going to line up my center front, and I'm going to just trace this piece as it is so that I know this is what was actually taken from the doll itself. And I also have a video on making basic pattern sets for your own doll, so you can look that up and see how I get these pieces. And these are made from the actual doll itself, so I can use them to design other pieces. So since I have that traced on, we'll go ahead and turn this light off again. There, maybe. Hello? There we go. So now what I can do is I have my original line and the seam line. I'm going to go ahead, and I know I want this to be a t-shirt, and I'm going to leave the neckline where it is so that the neckline that connects to the shoulder line stays where it is. And I'm going to reference my photo again. I think this one kind of goes off the shoulder. So I will go ahead, and I want to keep this point just as a reference, but I'm going to take my neckline and I'm going to widen it, because this little t-shirt goes off the shoulder on one side, and then I'm going to bring the shoulder out so it's a little bit wider. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop that down a little bit lower so it won't hug the doll quite so much. And I also want it to be a fairly loose t-shirt, so you can see that I'm coming out quite a bit from the original fit line of the doll. And I'm going to come down, but it is slightly curved. It looks like there's actually even a dart in the pattern. So we'll maybe just go ahead and come straight down, and then we can put that dart in, which would be right here, just a little dart. But if you fit it and then add the dart, it'd be too small. So we'll come out, there we go, and then we're going to come down. Now this is actually the doll's waist, and we want it to come far below that, so we're going to add quite a bit of length down here, and we're going to come straight down. And I'll go ahead and widen that even a little bit more, so we have a nice loose t-shirt. And then we'll go ahead and add in, and the bust line, we'll grab the bust piece here. This is actually the curved bust line. So here, when you put those pieces overlapped so that the actual line of the pattern and the actual line, the seam lines match, you can see that the side would need to come out to about here. And because I don't want to mess with this piece, I'm going to go ahead and add that extra, because this one only accounted for the front piece, but I actually have a front piece and a side front, so I want to account for both of those widths. So I'm going to go ahead and come out to account for that second piece, and I'll go ahead and come, because I need a seam allowance, and we'll just come all the way to the edge here. And I'm going to round that out. There we go. And then I don't think we'll have quite as long of a dart, but we'll make a dart. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and go all the way down to the bottom of the page. So now what I'm going to do is measure my actual underarm length. Come to here, so it comes, so that's going to give me quite enough for my seam allowance, as well as the, there, we'll have a little bit of a drop sleeve. So now I'm going to clean up my excess here. There we go. Let's see. Okay. And here, I added enough for the seam allowance here, but not here yet. So now I'm going to put my seam allowance on here. There we go. So now what I want to do is I'm going to fold this and cut it in half. So we'll put it on the actual center. And I'll grab some scissors. And this has seam allowance in place for a bit of an oversize. And I like to start with them a little bit oversized, just because then if I need to change it and cut some off, I can always do that. Okay, and now in the, let's check, I'm going to check my photo again. We'll go ahead and put a picture here so we can take a look at it. Let's see, and the neckline is a little bit lower, so let's go ahead and lower the neckline a little bit. keep the shoulder edge where it was. There we go. We'll just give a little more room in the neckline. So here's the body of the t-shirt, and if I fold it where the darts would be, I can kind of get an idea of how that would look. And I think it's a little bit wider than I'd want, so I'm going to go ahead and trim a little bit off of there on both sides. Not quite 1/4 of an inch. There we go. So we'll throw that away. So now that I have my basic shape, we have to insert the zigzag. So what we're going to do is find my center again. There we go. And now I want the zigzag to start a little past the center. And as I'm looking at this, I'm not real happy with the neckline there. That's better. Okay, so for my zigzag, I'm going to put in what I want to be my actual seam line. So I want my seam line to go here, and then it's going to come back across to here, maybe a little bit lower, about to here, then back across again to there, and then back down to the bottom. Let's see here. It looks like this one came down farther. So we'll make it come down here. And again, this line is representing only the seam line. There we go. I think that looks more accurate to the photo. And then that's going to come this way. So this is the actual seam line of where things are sewn together. So what I'm going to do, this is not my pattern yet. I'm going to cut on the actual seam line, like so. So I'll have both sides of my front. So now that I have that ready, what I'm going to go on my actual pattern piece is I'll trace everything except, well, I'll trace everything. So when you're ready to make the actual piece, this side edge already has a seam allowance. The neckline already had a seam allowance, and of course the hemline. So when we trace this diagonal, this is the actual seam line. So we'll trace those. But now we have to go ahead and add the seam allowance so that we have room to sew those pieces together. So we'll add 1/4 inch seam allowance to all of those edges. So this will be, let's see, on the doll itself, it would be the left side, front. So that gives us the seam allowance for, let's see, sewing those pieces together. Then here's what the seam allowance will look like around the arm and on the side. We'll add that. And then on the hemline, we can make that a little more straight with a ruler. So then this would give us the actual piece that we can cut and sew, and we'll do the same thing for the other piece to make the other side of the front, so that when we actually sew them together, our seam line will be in the correct place. And we'll need to indicate where we want that dart, which seems a little high now that I adjusted that a little bit, so we'll move that down a little bit. Probably more like this. And just a little bit of a dart to just give a little bit of a fit there over the bust line. So there we go. So there's one side of our little t-shirt. And now we'll go ahead and make the pattern piece for this, and then we'll go ahead and draft our sleeves and the back. So we'll speed up the camera and finish up this set. So here is the two pieces for the zigzag front with a short sleeve, and the neckline is simply just turned over and hemmed, so there's no facing involved. Then there's an optional long sleeve t-shirt that has a front placed on a fold and a back piece with a seam in the back, so that you can go ahead and leave an opening here. That way it will be able to fit over the doll's head, so that you don't have to take the head off and on to put the t-shirt on. There's the pattern for the shorts. It's just two pieces. Then there's an optional pattern for leggings, and we have the back of the zigzag t-shirt. That zigzag t-shirt, where's the front here, can be made with the short sleeve, or there's a long sleeve option with a cuff at the end of the sleeve, so that's just an option. So that's how our pieces all come together. So I'll go ahead and get everything marked and indicate a size reference on here, get them processed through the computer with the branding, and we'll post it on the website. So enjoy making our little outfit. We'll put the picture here, and happy sewing.